You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Let me preface this by saying, don't kill the messenger. I'm just putting this out there because it was talked about in the comment section on my video about Josh Huepel possibly having an axe to grind with Oklahoma and how he was let go at Oklahoma when he was employed there by Bob Stoops. This is a Sooner fan saying this, not rival fans, so we can't blame it on that. And I wasn't going to give much credence to it until I saw a actual Oklahoma beat writer, I think, talking about it today on a podcast. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we do all that, let's get the four horsemen shout-outs. And they go to Rail, Zach Hamner, Nate, and Sooner JH Travels, John in parentheses. They're saddled up and mounted up and ready to go. They're going to help us with today's college football invasion. And if you want to get your badge and get deputized and possibly be the comment of the day, which comes later in the show, all you got to do is hit that join button next to the subscribe button. It's not $2.99 a month. It's just 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the outlaw. And you'll get your badge and you'll be deputized and you'll be in the outlaw posse. You can also like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's the big four. They're all absolutely free. Now, let's talk about it. Cuts like a knife, but it feels so right. Ain't that how that song goes by Bryan Adams? That's our song of the day. I think it applies because it sort of cuts like a knife. Some of the stuff that's coming out about Josh Huepel's relationship while he was here at Oklahoma with Bob Stoops, and how, I was giving Josh a little bit of a hard time on the last podcast about the little tweet that he supposedly made. And now I'm starting to see, well, he might have a reason to be looking for a little redemption since he was fired at Oklahoma and he's coming home as a former national championship quarterback at Oklahoma. He just wants to prove himself a little bit. Now, saying you might run the score up on your alma mater might be just a little vengeful there, Josh. But like I said, some of the stuff that's being said in the comment section and whatnot, and now that an Oklahoma beat writer is coming out and saying some of the same stuff, it's things that make you go, like the old Arsenio Hall show used to say. And I'm going to bring that up for y'all right now and see what y'all think about this. Y'all give me your thoughts on this video here, and I'm going to interrupt it a few times just so they can't red flag me and demonetize the video.
I wanted you on today because I wanted you to tell us this story of Josh Huepel's past at Oklahoma, because when he was hired at Tennessee a few years ago, I did a deep dive into his whole track record and things like that. And I came across your Tulsa World article that basically dove into how after playing Texas A&M, Bob Stoops tried to force that offense on Josh Huepel and wanted Trevor Knight to be Johnny Manziel. And it didn't work out. Can you give a full kind of timeline? And I'll give you the floor on just what happened from the beginning to end on that and how he got fired.
So they're saying that Josh Huepel was basically forced into coaching an offense and bringing in a quarterback like Johnny Manziel. And we all know Josh Huepel is more of an air raid type guy, right? Let's continue.
Yeah, so Josh, obviously, national championship quarterback at Oklahoma, came with Mike Leach, not with Mike Leach, but Mike Leach went out and found him at Snow Junior College, came in and changed the culture at Oklahoma from, decades of wishbone and power running and option football. Josh came in as a left-hander who wanted to throw for 4,000 yards every year, and people around here had never heard of that before, right? That was strange football. That was something from that BYU did and the San Diego Chargers did. Can't happen at Oklahoma. Well, they did it. They accomplished it immediately, turned it around in year 2, won the national title. So Josh immediately has favored son status at Oklahoma. Well, as his coaching career begins to evolve, he goes to work coaching tight ends for Mike Stoops out in Arizona, comes back to coach Oklahoma, and he's coaching quarterbacks. And pretty soon he's elevated to offensive coordinator. And he's doing good. If you look at his offenses are putting up big numbers. Landry Jones, I think third in the NCAA history with total passing yards or something like that. It's an absurd figure that Landry Jones put up in 4 years as the starter. Well, Josh, in that 2012 Cotton Bowl against Texas A&M and Johnny Manziel, that was Johnny football. Okay, that was the breakout. That was his Heisman year. He had a fantastic game against OU. And in 2013 and 2014, you saw Josh's recruiting of quarterbacks kind of go down a little bit. I think their passing numbers were 83rd in the country and 90th in the country in passing.
So Josh's recruiting prowess and his ability to bring in quarterbacks for the position that he's coaching is going down a little bit, according to John Hoover, who is, I guess he's a beat writer for Tulsa World. So people were likely getting on to Josh and maybe blaming Josh for some of the stuff that was going on, when in reality, it wasn't really Josh's fault, is what we're seeing here.
Offense. And at some point after the 2012 season, Bob Stoops said, hey, football is moving this way. Football is taking off and going in this Johnny football direction. Can you get us a quarterback that looks like that? Right. And that's a tough call. He was, of course, unable to do that, but essentially he was trying to install an offense under Bob's orders. He was trying to install that read option Johnny football offense that he'd never come up in. He didn't have any DNA in that. He was an air raid guy. He was a Mike Leach guy. And, wouldn't you know it, he's been tasked with installing an offense that he doesn't really know much about. He doesn't have the roots there. So he tried. He did his best. Like I said, they finished down in the NCAA ratings a couple of years. They lost quite a few games in those couple of years, and Bob hated it. It killed him to do it. But he knew that the only way to move the program forward was to, your offensive coordinator, coach is terrible. You're going to have to fire him, right? That's what everybody says. So he kind of relented and said, you know what? That's probably what I need to do. I got to fire Josh Huepel, as much as it kills me to do it. And, Josh.
As much as it kills him to do it, as much as it kills him to do it, this guy right here is doing something I like to call wanting to criticize, but not criticize fully because he's afraid of the blowback. Basically, what this guy's telling us is that Bob Stoops basically made Josh Huepel install an offense that he couldn't coach. And then after he did that, and it didn't work, Bob Stoops let Josh Huepel take the blame for all of it and basically scapegoated him. That's what he's saying here, but he just won't come out and say it.
Josh's brother-in-law was the president of the university's son. His sister was married to the president's son. So he had this status of kind of untouchable, but Bob moved on and cut ties. And Bob had his college roommate coaching offensive line at the time, and that was a disaster. So he fired him, fired his co-offensive coordinator, Jay Norvell, who he also played with at Iowa. So it was kind of a fresh start for Bob in his career. After that loss to Clemson in the Russell Athletic Bowl, Bob seriously considered retirement.
That's something I didn't know. I didn't know that Bob would consider retiring after the Clemson loss. So Bob was thinking about quitting and retiring at Oklahoma a few years before he actually quit and retired.
The president talked him out of it. Clean house, remake your staff, go get what you need to get. And what he needed to get turned out to be Lincoln Riley. Ironically, Lincoln Riley comes in and installs the air raid offense, basically, that Josh Huepel wanted to run. So it came full circle really fast. And more ironically, they bring in Baker Mayfield as a walk-on from Texas Tech. Baker Mayfield, Texas Tech, Cliff Kingsbury guy, air raid guy. I mean, Josh Huepel must have really, at that point in his career, felt very, very slighted by his alma mater.
Felt very, very slighted by his alma mater, according to John Hoover, who is a beat writer in Oklahoma at the Tulsa World. So it's not just a few rival fans stirring up shit or no common Joes in the comment section just saying stuff. This looks like that Josh may actually have still a little pin-up frustration from when he was a coach at Oklahoma, and the fact that Bob made him do that shit, then made him the scapegoat, and then reinstalled the offense that Josh was coaching just fine before he made Josh put in that offense. And I like Bob Stoops, but none of us are perfect, not even Bob.
That's brutal. Caleb?
So, what do you think Huepel's matter about on a personal level about this? The fact that he was fired for not being able to run an offense that Bob Stoops forced on him and then just replaced him with an offensive coordinator who ran the offense he wanted to run anyway? Or the fact that Bob Stoops didn't fire his brother as defensive coordinator at the time when the defense, it seemed like, was a major issue too in 2014 at Oklahoma?
It's probably the offense thing. That coach, that was my offense. That's what I ran. What he's running is what I ran as a quarterback and as an offensive coordinator. Why are you bringing him in to run my offense, basically? So
there you have it. I'm not going to make y'all watch all that, but basically these guys are Oklahoma guys. I don't know about the other two guys, the off the hook guys. Thank you for allowing us to use that clip. But I know I was giving Josh a hard time, but it seemed like, there may be blame on both sides of the ball here. I'm not trying to piss the Oklahoma people off out there. I'm just saying that, and they brought up the whole nepotism thing about Bob not really wanting to fire his brother, but yet he was all about firing Josh Huepel. And the guy said he thought Josh was probably more mad about the fact that he brought in a guy that was running an offense that he was already running before that was successful, that he was made not to run anymore. And that may be true, but there's still a little, I don't want to say shadiness, because that's not really the right word, but something that's just not quite right about the fact that, Bob was able to fire Josh, but not able to fire his brother, who was actually doing a worse job than Josh, from what I understand. From numerous Oklahoma fans out there have told me that Mike Stoops? Who was it? It was one of the Stoops brothers was the defensive coordinator, and he wasn't doing a very good job, and Bob didn't fire him. So you guys and gals, tell me what you think about all that. Do you think that Josh Huepel was scapegoated? Do you think that maybe Bob Stoops railroaded him a little bit, maybe let him take the blame for something that was actually Bob Stoops' fault? Or do you think that maybe Josh Huepel was just overreacting a little bit and is just basically being a whiny little bitch about it? Drop it in the comment section and let me know what you think about all that. Now, let's get to the comment of the day. The comment of the day goes to That Christian Fam channel. Great channel, by the way, if you want to look into some religious topics. He's your guy. He says, love the guy. I'll be forever grateful, but I hope we beat the fire out of Tennessee. And that was in regards to my last podcast about Josh Huepel maybe having an axe to grind, or maybe, with his little tweet that he made that he might think about running the score up on Oklahoma this coming Saturday. Yeah, that's all I got today for you guys and gals out there. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And as I said before, you can also, those are the big four, and they're all free, especially subscribing and sharing. Those are the two most important out of those four to me. But you can also join the Outlaw Posse for some extra perks. You can be the comment of the day like That Christian Fam channel was just now, as well as get your badge and get deputized and be one of the random Four Horsemen shout-outs. It's not but $2.99 a month, just 75 cents a week. We'll join button, next subscribe button. With that, I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.